is a very, very serious one. It carries a very serious penalty. So naturally, Cyrus Vance will be able to claim that it was a solid victory. He faces significant prison time. We're very proud of the effort, etc. But again, if you fill out the analysis, the top two counts, so to speak, count one, count three, was predatory behavior involving a prior incident and the current one. And he beat those, and...
all right, Doug, I'm just going to interject for just a second because the audience can see what we're seeing now, and that is people coming out of this courthouse. And as our reporter had said just a few minutes ago, Alex Hogan, we were waiting for people to come out of that courtroom so that we could start to maybe hear some notes on color and what it was like. We're also waiting for the Manhattan District Attorney, Cy Vance, to take to the microphones, and a couple of things are anticipated to happen. One, a statement. There's Gloria Allred, one of the attorneys leading a team for the victims, and so we see her coming out. And again, we will then toggle to the news conference, which will be on the 15th floor in this building, and I say that because for a second, I think you saw the lectern there. We've gone back outside. But we'll hear from Cy Vance. I'm talking with Doug Burns and Judge Andrew Napolitano about this because we're curious to know. They're going to take questions. Judge Naps, what would you ask?
I would ask Cy Vance, how did you decide to go after him on the predatory count? That's the novel statute in New York, and why do you think you lost that? And then I might ask him to make him feel good. Your evidence was very strong on the rape count. What do you expect the sentence will be? And then I would say, how are you going to get him to L.A.? You're certainly not going to insist he serve the full term before he even gets to L.A. because he might not be alive 15 or 16 years from now. Your colleagues in L.A. probably want him there next month. Can you work that
out? Doug, let me bring you back in. I know somebody's going to ask, why do you think the police officers that were involved in this case did not testify? Is that something that you think that he would answer?
No, that's a good point, for sure. I'm not sure myself, as I think the judge said. We're both probably not sure why it eventuated that they didn't testify. But at the same time, very often you don't necessarily need them when you have the actual specific victims coming forth in court. But they may ask it, and I think he'll probably sidestep the question a little bit, Melissa.
Yeah. Judge, let me ask you, so we saw Gloria Allred go by, and she is representing some of the victims in these cases. Does this verdict impact civil damages?
Well, yes, it does. I mean, this is a far more difficult case to prove. I mean, the standard here is proof of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty in a civil case, many of which I think he has settled. But if there are still civil cases out there, the burden of proof is a lot lower. It's just by a preponderance of the evidence. So theoretically, it should be far easier to prove civil liability from and as a result of this conviction today. Now, I know Gloria and you know Gloria. Mm-hmm. After Cy Vance has to say, she'll find a camera, and she'll find a microphone, and she'll give us her say on why the government prevailed on the rape count, but lost on the sexual predator count.
All right, I'm going to ask again Judge Naps and also Doug Burns to sit by, if you will. We want to go back to our reporter now outside the courthouse, Alex Hogan. She's been working some information, has the sentencing date and some details, because we're all asking, Alex, when we will expect to see Harvey Weinstein leave.
So we're just learning that right now, Harris, we actually will not see Harvey Weinstein leave. He was taken into custody. He was cuffed. And again, he will not be leaving the courthouse behind me. We also got new details about this timeline. We were mentioning that earlier. Sentencing is set to take place on the 11th of March, and moving forward today, we do expect some other things to take place here at the courthouse. The district attorney will hold a press conference in the courthouse behind me to go over the case in general and everything that it took to really bring this to fruition. There will also be another kind of news conference, and that will take place here. The silence breakers will be speaking. Many people who have come forward, 23 different people listed in that update of people who will be speaking here regarding everything that it took to what they call as justice finally being served. So right now, the big new update is that Harvey Weinstein will not be leaving the courthouse behind.
We are just hearing from that group, excuse me, Alex, but we are just hearing from the group, the Silence Breakers, about that news conference that you talked about. They've now just released a statement. And here it is in part, because it's kind of lengthy. While it is disappointing that today's outcome does not deliver the true, full justice that so many women deserve, Harvey Weinstein will now forever be known as a convicted serial predator. This conviction would not be possible without the testimony of the courageous women and the many women who have spoken out. Despite intimidation from Weinstein's legal team, they courageously shared their stories with the jury, the courtroom, and the world. Just a quick last word, if you will, repeating that sentencing date for us one more time, Alex, and what you know about Harvey Weinstein. He's not coming out of the courthouse.
That's right, Harvey Weinstein will not be coming out of the courthouse. This is on March 11th. That's the date that we're told that a sentencing should come down. However, one thing we do need to keep in mind, we mentioned this earlier, Harvey Weinstein also faces another sexual assault case in California, and that could impact all of this just in terms of when the sentencing does take place and what exactly that will be. But again, Harvey Weinstein will not leave the courthouse behind me. He's already in custody. And also, we have new information that there is no bail set, meaning he will not be able to leave from right now after, again, years of this case coming to be finally now. Accusers who were in the courthouse giving their testimony of what took place and what happened to them, they finally have what they were hoping for, that they would see Harvey Weinstein leave and go to jail.
All right,
Harris.
Alex Hogan, thank you very much.
Judge Napolitano, let me ask you, so we know now that he's in custody and that the sentencing is going to happen on March 11th. How does that impact the case out in LA, and what's the argument you would make on both sides as they're, fighting over basically this defendant?
I would think that he'd certainly be here through March 11th, and we'll know what the sentencing is. And once he is sentenced, he'll be shipped to some permanent facility. Right now he's in a holding cell adjacent to the courthouse, so he'd be shipped to a permanent New York State prison. From that point on, it will be a negotiation between New York and California. And quite frankly, Melissa, the states show mutual respect for each other. There's no way New York is going to keep him for the full duration of his sentence when LA has prosecutors and witnesses and a judge